Your comment about coming from the internet, living in the internet, I was thinking about the George L. Lyon exercise, that this is where I come from, that it would be fun to read this, I come from the internet. Make an interesting exercise for poetry, I think. Which is actually an incredibly great segue into our final poet today. Henry Crawford's work has appeared in several journals and online publications, including Boulevard, Coppernickel, Folio, Borderline Press, and The Offbeat. He was a 2016 Pushcart nominee, and his first collection of poetry, American Software, was published in 2017 by CW Books. His poem Blackout was selected by the Southern Humanities Review as a finalist in the 2018 Jake Adam York Witness Poetry Contest, and not in his bio, but I'll just share this anyhow because that will be our introduction to what follows immediately after Henry reads to us. Henry will be giving a workshop at the Gaithersburg Book Festival in May. So anyhow, welcome.
Okay, thank you, Lolita and Marianne. Great poetry. Thank you all for coming out. Lucinda, thank you for asking me. And I'm going to begin with a poem by Stanley Plumley. He was a force in this area. If you go to any readings or if you pick up the work of almost any poem in the Mid-Atlantic region, you will hear and you will see the influence of Stanley Plumley. This is his poem that got published just last March, At Night. When did I know that I'd have to carry it around in order to have it when I need it? Say, in a pocket, the dark itself, not dark enough, but needing to be added to, handful by handful, if necessary. Until the way my mother would sit all night in a room without the lights, smoking, until she disappeared. Where would she go? Because I would go there too. In the morning, nothing but a blanket. All her absence and the feeling in the air of happiness and so much loneliness. A kind of purity of being and emptiness. No one you are or could ever be, my mother, like another me in another life, gone. Where will I go? Night, now likely dark enough. I can be alone, as I have never been alone before. Stanley Plumley. Okay, so I'm going to try in my 15 minutes of fame here, I'm going to try to see if I can cover every type of poem that I write, and I write in a lot of them, so fasten your seatbelt. We're going to go on a little journey here. The first one is I want you to think of the metro area as a giant pinball table. This is DC pinball. Shot out before Stevens cannon. The ball caroms up Georgia Avenue for 50 quick points off the Leisure World globe, ricocheting through the strip mall stores of Aspen Hill to spin jauntily down the Starbucks corridor of Connecticut Avenue, picking up dollars in the doorways of K Street law firms, lighting up lobbyists for cash and prizes, whirling around the tidal basin only to be trapped in Jefferson's Dome, then loosed by a flip of the Washington Monument, knocking the ball into the reflecting pool where the poor once stood waiting for their own bonus points at the lap of Lincoln, who kicks the ball around the outer rings of DuPont Circle, up Mass Avenue, past the navel-gazing observatory, picking up gargoyle points off the walls of the Washington Cathedral, then up the Neiman Marcus Highway of Wisconsin Avenue, past the grave of F. Scott Fitzgerald, before falling into the ancient waters of the Rock Creek, now flowing silently by a pickup b-ball game at Candy Cane City, untouched and gaining speed as it sails past the proud shores of P Street Beach, to slip through the hands of white-gloved Georgetown, unable to make the save as the ball drops into the Potomac on its way out to the big sea that knows nothing of us. I'm going to do a couple of love poems. My wife and I, we've been married for 40 years, so I'm going to do a couple of them. This is the first one. It's called The Distance. And this is from American Software. Available for purchase. The distance. Now, It was only this morning I saw my wife's face coming up through the skin, covering her bony skull, the way flesh contains and conceals the width of what some might call the personality, and others the soul. Or the way we might think of a rainforest as a certain type of geography, but we might also see the trees everywhere, breathing for us, like the porous hollows of her skin, the way it knows how to fold and unfold itself, so steady, and yet always giving something new, like an ice floe bundling and unbundling, the same way a bear might clutch and release a cub. She walked into breakfast this morning, her eyes crinkly, and I detected a certain happy thought just coming to the surface of the turn of her mouth, and I enjoyed her pleasure from this side of the eternal distance we have learned to share. The way a sea otter or seal will come up with a face full of water to teach us yet another kind of happiness. I also do history poems, and very often when I do them from in persona, from the voice of a president. I wanted to tackle the Vietnam era, for anybody who's lived through that. This is the Vietnam era as seen through Lyndon Johnson. I don't think a man ever gets to know who he really is. I think we are all disinclined in that way. And though I would like to say that I saw everything, and that it was all laid out before me, that I was presented with the facts, that my decisions were well informed, that I knew what I needed to know, and I think for the most part I did. But now, at the end of the day, I can't say for sure that I ever really knew. You know, I didn't start that war. I did not go out there thinking, let's get these goddamn gooks. I did not wake up one morning dreaming of choppers spitting fire from the sky. I did not go out there and pull these young men off the streets. I did not lure them to this war like some Sunday morning dreamer. I did not. But I also know, in another way, I did. Or maybe it was just that I was born into a state too long and too wide to be fully comprehended. And I was never able to shake off the cold coming down from the hills. I had big dreams in those Texas mornings. I mean, a man can see himself one way and also see himself completely different. I can love you, or I can make you think I love you, and it really doesn't matter which is true. I saw my mom and dad. They wore their love like a holy stone. I saw their ordinary mornings, her hat, his hand. I saw the dust all around him. I saw the dust. But as I think back on it now, I never saw it all. I couldn't see. I think you could come down here and think anything was possible. I knew a man came down here with $50 in his pocket and made a fortune. I believed I could do anything, make things happen, get out in front. I thought I had a clear sense of what was true, that I had come up from solid ground, but somehow I got tripped up, and it was all quicksand. And I believed I was doing the right thing. But now, I don't know if I ever knew. And that is why I say, a man never gets to know who he really is. More than that, I dare not say. I'm not going to try to redeem myself, and I'm not going to harbor any regret as would a weaker man. I am not saying that everything I did was right, but sometimes I wonder if there's a way to know the score. And I would like to know the score, but I also know that to some extent, I never will. Lyndon Johnson. Okay, so the next one here is this is a send-off based upon all those, pharmaceutical ads that we see on cable television, and they have these long legal, these kind of things, and they speak them very fast. This is, television is not for everyone. Television is not for everyone. Side effects include dizziness, fatigue, upset stomach, and nausea. Prolonged television watching may lead to weight gain, missing sleep, nervousness, a feeling of numbness. Television contains cable news. Don't watch cable news if you are disturbed by scenes of adult men and women shouting at each other. The viewing of television is not recommended for infants, adolescents, young adults, the middle-aged, or the elderly. Among the side effects of television is binge watching. Chronic binge watching has been known to occur in otherwise healthy individuals. In cases of binge watching, do not attempt to quit watching without the supervision or consent of a spouse. See your doctor if you experience the inability to let go of the remote. Don't watch television if you're allergic to conspicuous consumption. Don't watch television if you're unable to tolerate prolonged periods of mediocrity. Alternatives to television include taking a walk, meeting up with friends, jogging, watching the sunset, counting the stars at night. And if all else fails, just turn the thing off and come on to diverseGaithersburg and hear some poetry. So, sometimes at these readings, people will come up to me and say, how come you poets don't rhyme anymore? All right. So I wanted to come up with a rejoinder to that. And I also wanted to write a postmodern hymn. So this is the rhyming ways of God. And it's always hard to perform, so let me take a big, deep breath. The rhyming ways of God. God shakes hips, sings ships, sings songs, goes wrong, walks out, knows doubt, sees the light, grabs a bite, helps a few, says adieu, thinks aloud, joins a crowd, stops short, orders court, takes time, breaks a line. Gets down, goes around, makes a rule, helps a fool, bears cats, wears hats, stays straight, makes way, turns away, starts the day, makes a play, knows the way, watches stars from afar, hangs with monks, drives with drunks, does a jig, eats a fig, gets tough, has fun, gets done, gets mad, just a tad, will call, will fall, stops sin, gives in, loves a child, takes a while, hires nuns, fires guns, asks for more, starts a war, reads the law, populates, copulates, moves the plates, hesitates, is a father, is a mother, sister, brother of another, lends a hand, gives a damn, rounds the bend, makes amend, taps a friend now and then, and in the end, remembers when. She did. She kept up with me on that one. I could even.
That was for everybody.
All right, so this next poem, and I've got two left, and they're from a new book that I'm writing called Driving in a Car. And Driving in a Car is a series of poems where I use the automobile as the main, because it is the main metaphor of contemporary life. This is where we do everything. And so a lot of these poems are meditations of someone driving in a car in various scenarios. This one is just like the drive up today on 270. This is traffic jam on and it could be called traffic jam on 270, but it's a traffic jam. A white sail hitchboat floats up outside my roll-down windows. In front of me, a canary yellow Honda pumps the brakes as we work together to stop a scheming Lexus coming in off the shoulder. But now, the lane with the boat is suddenly moving, and I'm passed by a truck full of oxygen tanks, leaving just enough space to get in, but no! A battered Camry showing no mercy. And here's the Lexus trying to get in again, and the oxygen truck, even the sailboat, come falling back, looking to squeeze in behind me. But the Honda and I are standing our ground as the lanes begin to clear, and we're moving again as I shoot by the Camry to get ahead of a black SUV with a family of stick figures waving from the window. As taillights come into bloom all over the road and the Camry swings by with the oxygen trunk, and in full retreat, the man with the sailboat is cursing at the guy in the Honda for allowing the Lexus to get back in. But the Lexus is quickly pulling away with a smile in the mirror and a middle finger for all. That was Traffic Jam. And finally, a love poem to my wife again. This is I call it a cosmological love poem because it is a man riding in the West late at night, and he's thinking both of love, and he's also thinking about the questions that trouble us all. Where do we stand in the universe? What are the galaxies? Who are we and where are we going? This is after midnight on a road outside Casper, Wyoming. Maggie is sleeping beside me as highway lights spin a circus wheel of stars and signs along a valley of real and imagined homes arranged like circumstantial fortresses along the plains of the gasoline night. Panoramic, backlit towns, winging off the windshield like galaxies moving away in all directions as pings and flashes of LEDs spark the incandescent dashboard with small bursts of information only to recede back inside the car like luminous sea creatures on the floor of some undiscovered planetary sea or the final flares of a distant civilization's lost war. There's a blue Kerouac light radiating off the North Star of a high-mounted 7-Eleven sign as the road takes speed and distance to arrange the cars in temporary partnerships, arriving and departing like anonymous lovers, meeting up and moving on in steady streams of visible and invisible light at a fixed speed, no matter where we go, or what our circumstances present, or the way we find ourselves, or how we happen to be. Maggie is dreaming of being inside me, exploring the rib cities of my fluid tubes, the innumerable piano wires in the 1,000 reaches of my limbs, the neural connection singling sensation along the cellular cemeteries of my blank skin, my double-star partner. Lighting and darkening are always falling surfaces, like the intermittent brilliance of an interstate moon or the neon pulses of a 24-hour welcome sign. The Earth is a special house, seething in defiance amid the dead minutiae of interstellar waste, barreling along on blind rubber, obeying the same laws as keeps the car on the ground, as lights the way ahead, as keeps the past in the rearview mirror, as thrusts us out onto the road ahead, moving, always, further away. Thank you.